erode enemy defenses through continuous, small-scale but persistent offensive actions without launching a major offensive. It was a blend of trench raiding, used to capture prisoners, and patrolling. During the late 1918 German Spring Offensive, Australian forces began conducting patrols into no man's land where there was a lack of fortifications. These patrols discovered it was possible to infiltrate and quickly capture German outposts from the rear. Thus, small raiding parties were able to continuously hook around German outposts, seizing prisoners on an ongoing basis until the front lines were gradually pushed further back, sometimes even by miles. The Australian approach minimized casualties, maintained pressure on the enemy, and ultimately contributed to the erosion of enemy defenses, setting the stage for larger operations. Peaceful penetration was an infantry tactic used near the end of World War I by Australian forces. It was aimed to gradually erode enemy defenses through continuous, small-scale but persistent offensive.
Let's take a look at the NVG50, which in my opinion is the best digital night vision device under $500 for those of you looking to run a single monocular setup. This unit features an ultra-low illuminance Sony CMOS sensor, which delivers a very detailed and crisp color image and exceptional low light performance, and all you need is a little moonlight to operate this device, and in most outdoor environments you probably won't even need to run any IR lighting. The NVG50's video feed is very quick with a very small amount of latency.
Right now we have a cold suppressor. We're gonna take a few shots and see how it looks under night vision and thermal. Back down. Silmaga näha hõõgub. Just finished shooting about 3 mags. Looking through the night vision suppressor is actually glowing enough that we can still see it. It's been almost a minute, and of course you can see it glowing on the thermal. It actually shows the person as not red hot due to it being so hot. So if you're in a contact, you go through mags really fast, then there's a chance that you will still be visible due to your suppressor just glowing.
100 years before the modern-day motor, Benjamin Franklin revealed a very unique electrostatic machine, which had no magnets or even windings. It had brass thimbles attached to glass spokes, which would attract or oppose to Leyden jars. This would allow it to rotate up to 15 RPM. However, it was very low-powered.
Alright, listen, I don't usually make videos like this, okay? But this is, I don't know, some kind of new scam. I gotta let you guys know about it. I'm coming out of Walmart, okay, and I go to my car, and I see that someone has moved it into a closer parking spot than where I had left it. Okay, now I don't understand how exactly this scam works, but my car was in a different spot, and not only that, they had changed the color, license plate, car model. There was a screaming woman in the front seat. I had to break the window just to get in. It was... I guess what I want to say is there are a lot of weirdos out there, and you need to be alert, and you need to be careful, okay? Okay, now why would someone paint my other car like a cop car? I gotta go get that bag. All right, listen.
So there's this company in the Midwest, and everybody's complaining the lifts or the elevators are too slow. So they go to Otis, the elevator company, who say that for a few $1 million, we can replace the cabling, replace the winding gear, put in new motors and lift cars, and we can speed up your elevators. And just before they're about to spend $2 million, someone says, before you do that, just try putting floor-to-ceiling mirrors between the lift doors, on the walls, on every floor. And everybody said, what the hell are you talking about? What they're saying is the lifts are too slow. What they really mean is, I get bored waiting for the lift. So they put floor-to-ceiling mirrors in between the doors, and whereas before, the same people who'd been jabbing impatiently at the button and getting furious, once they had mirrors, the time was occupied in grooming or mild voyeurism, and all the complaints stopped. So there's this company in the Midwest, and everybody's complaining the lift or the...
The Romans employed a variety of surface.
We need to put some wadding in there to make sure that the powder doesn't go anyplace. There's lots of projectile like that.
Jeez. This is going to go in the can.
Who's going to sit on?
Hi.
Need somebody else to sit on the. Squeeze it. That right there for now. You hold on right up here.
Okay.
Both hands up here. You keep your head up when you.
A top-secret operation which took 4 months to prepare. It's a massive undertaking. The International Customs Office is going to block 6 African ports. Over the course of 5 days, all containers are to be scrupulously monitored. Codename Operation Stranglehold. It's an operation led by the International Customs Office and involves officers from 174 different countries. Frenchman Christophe Zimmerman is in charge in Dakar in Senegal. Open that up for me.
Everything out. Max, open each carton, each. Okay.
In Dakar, more than 1 million containers are discharged every year. It's a point of exit for all exports leaving West Africa. The job for these customs officers today is to find a virus which is ravaging the entire planet. An economic virus. Counterfeit goods. There are the usual luxury products, belts, bags, shirts bearing the logos of the big brands. But they find something far more disturbing. Counterfeit mayonnaise.
Et la mayonnaise, bonjour.
Whoa, it's only 60 degrees in there. 40 degrees in the containers where the boxes wait for 10 days here at the port, before spending a further 20 days in transit. God knows what's going to happen to the people that finally eat the stuff. Everything that sells can be copied, and it's not without danger. Drinks containing bacteria, electrical appliances which can catch fire, perfumes and cosmetics liable to provoke allergies, and on a bigger scale, copies of spare parts for cars, doors, bumpers, windscreens, bonnets, and even pieces of the engine.
I know this is just a state, it's not real, but still, it's funny.
Jenna Pay got bring it back. Jenna Pay got bring it back. Jenna Pay got bring it back. It's giving millennial call. It's giving millennial call. Women should go back to the kitchen. Women should go back to the kitchen. Women should go back to the kitchen. Try not to cringe impossible. Try not to cringe impossible. Try not to cringe impossible. Make it stop, hate this. Make it stop, hate this. Make it stop, hate this. Buy them all the hoop. Buy them all the hoop. Jenna Pay got bring it.
Babe, what are you doing? Babe, what are you doing?
I'm trying to close the freaking sheet, but it won't close.
Okay, you're doing something wrong. You're forgetting something.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. No. Jeep, it's something you're doing. No, it's... Babe, there's something you're...
Something is wrong.
Too long. Hello. Hello. Right.
Hey there, it's Matt, one of the maintainers of Olama. I wanted to introduce you to the Chat API endpoint. One of our goals has always been to make the best tool for users and developers working with AI. So the main way to generate an answer from a model has always been the generate endpoint. If you don't yet have Olama, you can find it at olama.ai. Click the download button and install it. You'll get a CLI UI and a server that responds on a set of RESTful endpoints. Let's take a look at the role endpoints. I'm using the REST client plugin from Wachao Mao. I probably butchered the name, but the plugin is amazing. I can put in the URL, which is usually http://localhost:11.434/API/generate. To use it, you post a JSON body with at least a model name and the prompt. And the output is either a stream of JSON blobs, one for each token in the output, or a single blob with everything. For this example, I'm streaming, so here are all the JSON blobs with a response that is the latest token. The last blob you get has the metrics about the generation, as well as the context as an embedding, which is an array of numbers. That context can then be fed to the next with the name, but the plugin is amazing. You can find it at olama.ai. Click the download button and install it. You'll get a CLI UI and a server that responds on a set of RESTful endpoints. Let's take a look at the role endpoints. I'm using the REST client plugin from Wachao Mao. I probably butchered the name, but the plugin from Wachao Mao. I probably butchered the name, but the plugin is amazing. I can put in the URL, which is usually http://localhost:11.434/API/generate. To use it, you post a JSON body with at least a model name and the prompt. And the output is either a stream of JSON blobs, one for each token in the output, or a single blob with everything. For this example, I'm streaming, so here are all the JSON blobs with a response that is the latest token. The last blob you get has the metrics about the generation, as well as the context as an embedding, which is an array of numbers. That context can then be fed to the next call of the generate endpoint to provide, as well as the context as an
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Munchkin. You come here too, kitty? Are you good? You good? You come in. Munchkin. Come here. Here you go, Munchkin. Here. Good boy. Now stay right there. Come on, Munchkin.
Why copy them? Ugh.
In this short video, I'll teach you everything you need to know to get up and running with Ollama, which is a fantastic free open source tool that allows you to manage and run LLMs locally. Rather than having to pay for ChatGPT or use these hosted services online, you can actually run all of these models locally on your own computer, so you get privacy, security, and best of all, they are completely free. So with that in mind, let me show you how to set this up, get it running, and I'll also explain to you how you can utilize this through code, because Ollama provides an HTTP server, which means you can call your models from really any type of application. So first things first, we do need to install Ollama. So to do that, you can go to the website, which is ollama.com. I will link it in the description, and you can simply press on download and then select your operating system. In my case, I'm using Windows, but of course you have the command for Linux and then the installation for Mac. Now once that's downloaded, simply double click it and install it, and then I'll show you the next step. So once you've installed Ollama, there's a few different ways to run it. First of all, you can just open the desktop application. So if you're on Windows, you can go here to the search bar and just search for Ollama. If you're on Mac, you can simply go to the Spotlight search, same for Linux, and just run the application. Now, when you do that, nothing's going to appear on your screen, and the reason for that is this just starts a back-end server that's running the Ollama service. Now, the other way to do this is to open up a command prompt or a terminal, so you can see I'm in command prompt here on Windows, and then to simply just type Ollama. If you do this, you should get some kind of output, and if you see that, it means that you've installed Ollama correctly. At this point, I'll assume that you have this installed correctly and that this command gave you some kind of output, and now what we can do is start running models. So the first thing to look at is the different models that we have access to with Ollama. Now, truthfully, you have access to pretty much any open source model you want, and you can even write some custom configurations to use your own models or things that you pull in from something like Hugging Face. Now, if you go to the Ollama GitHub repository, which I will link down below, you can see some of the common models that you may want to download. Now, keep in mind that since you are running these locally, you will need to download the entire model, and you'll need to have enough space on your computer. You can see some of these are 43 gigabytes, for example, and enough RAM to run and load the model depending on how large it is. So you see, if we look through here, it defines the number of parameters for these models. If we look at something like Llama 3.1, we have 231 gigabytes and 405 billion parameters. And if you go down here to this note, it specifies how many gigabytes of RAM you should have based on the different model parameters. So even on my computer, which has 64 gigabytes of RAM, it would be difficult to load the new Llama 3.1 model with the 405 billion parameters, so keep that in mind when you are choosing the models that you want to use. For now, I'm just going to go with the standard Llama 2 model because this is older and it's not as large, and I know that I can run it and most of you should be able to run it as well, so I'm going to show you how we can pull that. But if you're looking for a list of all of the models you have available, you can go to the Ollama library. So if you go to ollama.com/library, and you can scroll through here and you'll see there are hundreds of different models. You can sort them, you can filter, and you can find even multimodal models that accept things like video, photos, voice, etc. So once you've decided on a model that you'd like to run, it's very simple to do so. All you need to do is type Ollama, run, and then the identifier of that model. Now, in my case, I just want to run Llama 2. I know this is an outdated model. I'm just doing it because it's smaller. So I can simply type ollama run llama 2. And if this model is not already installed on my system, then it will download it and install it for me. If it is already installed, it's just going to bring up a prompt where it allows me to actually start typing to the model and messaging with it. So notice here that it's just loading and it kind of gives me these 3 arrows, and I can just start typing something to the model and get some kind of response. And you can see that it's pretty much instant because there's no latency. It's running on my own machine. Now again, if this wasn't already installed, it would start pulling the model for you, and then you would have to wait for it to finish. It would install, then you can run the model and you can start using it. Now, after some experimentation, it's told me that you can type /by to get out of this. So if I type /by, you can see that it will enclose this window. And then if we want, we can type ollama and then list, and we can list the different models that we have available on our system. In this case, you can see I have Llama 2, which is the latest version. If I had any other models, they would show up here. So that's the basics on running models using ollama, but there's a lot more to show you, so make sure you stick around after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by SEO Writing, a tool that's transforming content creation across different niches and industries. Their new brand voice feature lets you generate content that matches your unique style, whether you're writing tutorials, reviews, or even industry analysis. One click generates a complete blog post with AI-generated images and relevant videos embedded automatically, potentially saving you hours of manual work. What sets SEO Writing apart is their deep web research with built-in citations. When you need accurate, up-to-date information, the platform pulls from reliable sources and adds citations automatically. Their humanized text feature helps your AI-generated content stand out, while their external linking feature intelligently connects to relevant resources. And for all you WordPress users out there, there's a game-changing feature that lets you connect your site and auto-post content directly. This feature allows for consistent scheduling while focusing on other projects. Now, if you're ready to try it for yourself, then use my code TWT25 for a 25% discount. Click the link in the description and see how SEO Writing can fit into your content strategy. Alright, so we are continuing here, and I want to show you what happens when you pull multiple models. So again, if we go back to the library, we can start looking through different models that we may want to utilize. Maybe I can even just go back here to the GitHub if I want to find them a little bit easier. And maybe I want to use the Mistral model as well. If that...
Oh god.